Then he says, he gives snow like wool. He scatters frost like ashes. He hurls his ice like chfitim, like pieces of bread, morsels. Who can withstand this cold? Then he sends forth his wind and melts them. He causes his wind to blow. The water flows. What a powerful, what a beautiful analogy David HaMelech is teaching us. He's explaining this whole world, the whole universe that we live in now. The analogy is the analogy of ice. Water flows, but then it turns into ice. The ice could become so thick, you can drive a truck over the ice. Rivers freeze in Russia, and you can literally drive a truck over it. It's so thick, it becomes like hard, like a rock. That explains what the tzimtzum is. Before, water is like, it's flowing, it's undefined, it's all connected. And then Hashem makes a tzimtzum, and the water congeals, turns into ice. Doesn't move like a piece of rock. Everything becomes limited, congealed. So the tzimtzum takes the water and congeals it, hardens it. But what does Hashem do? Hashem has the ability then to take and melt the ice. That the ice suddenly now turns back into water. This is exactly what we're doing here. This is what we're accomplishing. This is what the Jewish people are doing. Hashem creates, he makes a tzimtzum, and the world appears to us to be frozen, congealed, a piece of ice. You have different levels. You have a strong ice, thick ice. Then you have like pieces of ice, like hail. So you have flakes of ice. Then you have like snow. Oh, snow is also water that's condensed. It's a little frozen, can't snow in warm weather. So that's this world. This whole world is through tzimtzum. Hashem congealed, Hashem concealed, Hashem took the water and he froze it. And the world appears to be fragmented and frozen and limited, and that's our reality. But, miracle of miracles, wonder of wonders, the ice can turn back into water. And that's what we're doing by praising Hashem, by davening to Hashem, and praising Hashem, and being aware of Hashem, and lingering on this praise, and luxuriating this praise, and loving the praise, and getting into it. What do we accomplish? Suddenly the ice turns back into water. Now suddenly we look at the same reality and we see Hashem in it. We see Hashem in everything. It's fluid, it flows, it's not rigid, everything moves. And that's why we see with the very first Jew, Avraham Avinu. Nature is very rigid. Avraham Avinu, when he was thrown into the fire, what happened? Fire didn't burn, it became a botanical gardens. He wandered around. What do you mean? How could fire not burn? Because yes, the world is rigid. Nature is nature. Fire is fire, and fire burns, and there's nothing you can do to change it. Nature is nature. Science is science. This is the way it is. It never changes. Comes along Avraham Avinu, who lived, the first Jew, who lived a life that's beyond nature, who connected with Hashem, praised Hashem, was aware of Hashem. Suddenly the ice melts. The rigidity of nature suddenly, who says fire has to burn? Instead of burning, it became a botanical gardens. The intense heat, the fire is burning. Anyone else, the goyim all got burnt. Anyone got near, all burnt. And Avraham is walking around, and it's a beautiful day, botanical gardens on the beach. So the rigidity, the ice melts. Suddenly it's not what it appears to be. Rabbi Ben Tzion says, his wife ran out of oil, so he says, what's the big deal? Whoever said that oil will light will say that vinegar will light. And vinegar, she put vinegar and instead of oil and lit. Who said? There's no rigidity. The ice is melted. So if the ice in your heart melts, and you open your heart to Hashem, and you're praising, singing Hashem's praises, and you love, and you get into it, then nature, ice, rigid. It's only if you live by the rules of nature, by the laws of nature, then you are limited by nature. But if you rise above nature, you're not limited by the laws of nature, and the ice melts. It's such a powerful visual analogy, a mashal of what Tzimtzum is, what this whole world is, what the Elokim does, and the Yid comes and turns Elokim into Elokeinu. You turn the Elokim, the nature, into Elokeinu. It's a whole different world, a whole different reality. And then he says, Magi devarav Yaakov, chukim shvato Yisrael. Hashem tells his words, the Torah, to Yaakov, his statutes and ordinances to Israel. Hashem gave us the Torah. Here we're talking about in this psalm, Hashem, we're singling out the Jewish people, how the Jewish people are praising Hashem. And he says that Hashem gave us the Torah. There are rules of the universe, science, nature, rules of nature, which are fixed. But there's also rules of the Torah. A Yid lives by the rules of the Torah. There's chukav, there's rules and laws, mishpatav. But the Torah, again, the Torah, what's the Torah? The Torah is Hashem's perspective of reality. The Torah expresses the truth of Hashem, that there is no other reality but Hashem. And that's why the Torah is not religion. The Torah is not just a book of rules and laws and religion. The Torah covers everything. There's no aspect of reality that's not covered by the Torah. Torah covers everything. Torah tells you how to tie your shoes, how to do business, how to have relations, There's nothing that's not covered by the Torah. And it has to be that way because there is nothing else. What is the Torah? The Torah reveals to us there's nothing else besides Hashem. So if anything exists, it only exists because Hashem, because it's in the Torah. Otherwise it would never even exist. There's no existence other than Hashem. Everything in this world is really it's really Hashem. Hashem is everything, everything is Hashem. There's nothing besides Hashem. So how could there be anything that's not covered in the Torah? It's not possible. There is nothing else. And in the Torah, Hashem concentrates himself in the Torah. It's the same idea. Hashem concentrated himself between the poles of the ark. And he revealed the Torah. He spoke to Moshe. He communicated the Torah between the poles of the ark. The Torah, even though the Torah may deal with the laws of civil law, landlord, tenant, dispute, who's right and who's wrong. The Torah can talk about agriculture and get into the nitty-gritty of agriculture and different plants and different agriculture. The Torah can get into the nitty-gritty of animals. Which animal is kosher, which animal is not kosher, which animal is defective in the animals. The Torah deals with our reality. And the Torah, when you learn Torah, it has to make sense to us. It has to learn Torah, study Torah, it has to make sense in the human logic. You can't make a blessing in the Torah, in the oral Torah, unless you understand what you're learning. So you have to understand the subject matter. A rabbi has to be able to give medical ethics. You have to study medicine. You have to understand how the body works. Only then could you apply the Torah and understand what the Torah is teaching you about, guiding you about medical ethics, to give a render halachic verdict. You have to master, to understand the laws of an animal. You have to master the laws of the anatomy of an animal. You have to study the animal. You have to understand. In order to master the laws of agriculture, you have to study agriculture. So the Torah is dealing with every aspect of reality, and you have to understand it thoroughly, and you have to understand. But really, it's really the Hashem. It's the divine wisdom that's concentrated in civil law and agricultural law and in biology and in laws of the animal. It's really Hashem's infinite self, infinite mind that's concentrated. It's not you're getting something limited, something that's diminished. The rest of the world, everything in the world is diminished. You're getting something that's diminished, something that's limited. That's the meaning of Elokim, of Tzimtzum. But when it comes to Torah, Hashem gives his whole self into the Torah, his whole essence in the Torah, his whole infinite self in the Torah, and every word and every letter and every halakha and every word of the Torah. So you're getting Hashem himself. It's not a limited version, addition. You're getting Hashem has concentrated his entire infinite self in this simple halacha. It deals with something very physical and tangible and material and day to day. So Magid Devarav Yaakov, Hashem is placing himself. Chukav umishpatav. These are his laws. These are not limited laws. He gave us a way of life, how to figure out how to live. So he gave us some wise directions and guidances. No. It's chukov, it's his laws. These laws create life. These are his words. He is fully invested and fully concentrated in these laws, in the Torah. And the whole world was created just for that. Why does a person have 248 limbs? In order to fulfill 248 mitzvot. Why does a person have 365 veins? In order to fulfill 365 prohibitions. It's Hashem himself, the Varav, Chukav and Mishpatav. The Medrash says that Hashem practices what he preaches. Hashem doesn't just give us mitzvahs, he himself keeps all the mitzvahs. On one hand, on the other hand, when we do a mitzvah, Hashem does the mitzvah. So on one hand, Hashem does the mitzvah before we do the mitzvah. That gives us the ability to do the mitzvah. And then when we do the mitzvah, Hashem does the mitzvah. So that's even a higher level. When we put on tefillin, Hashem puts on tefillin. Any mitzvah that we do, we cause Hashem to do the mitzvah. And he concludes, Goy, he didn't do this to all the nations of the world. Only for his chosen people. Mishpatim by Yadom. They don't know his ordinariness. This whole way of life, the way of life of Yiddishkeit, of Torah and mitzvahs, this whole way of life, that a Yid lives with the reality and truth of Hashem, Hashem's truth, that there is no other reality besides Hashem. And a Jew lives with this reality, and that becomes our reality. This is what's unique, this is what's special about the Jewish people. That's why it's the praise of the Jewish people. The world was created for the praise of the Jewish people. Even the malachim, the angels, wait for the praise of the Jewish people. Because to truly understand there's no other reality besides Hashem, the truth is, only a Jew can truly understand it. Even a malach, even an angel, as spiritual as he is, on his own cannot truly get that and truly understand that and truly grasp that, connect with that. After a Jew praises Hashem, then we elevate the angels that they also have a higher level of insight, that they're able to also somewhat understand, and they can also praise Hashem. They wait. They can only praise Hashem after we praise Hashem. They wait for our praise. Because this level of praise and this level of connection, only a Yid. So when a Yid is in this world, and the Torah mitzvahs were given to us in this world, not in heaven, when we praise Hashem in this world, as we go about our daily lives, as real human beings, live human beings, living in the real world, operating in the world of nature, and yet we are singing Hashem's praises. We rise above nature and we sing Hashem's praises. And we rise above nature and we live the life of Torah and mitzvahs. Elevate the whole universe. We transform the whole universe. Ki tov zamra Elokeinu. We elevate and transform the name Elokim. We reveal within the name Elokim a tremendous simcha. This is the simcha of a wedding. You evoke a tremendous joy. You're able to help the groom access a tremendous level of joy, of pleasure, the deepest level of joy, from the source of joy and the source of pleasure. Because this completely changes everything, changes the whole universe. It's a different world. This is the world of Mashiach. This is the world that we're creating. This is the world when, as he starts in the beginning of the psalm, when Yerushalayim will be rebuilt, Nidchei Yisrael Chanas, and there'll be the ingathering of the Jewish people, and Hashem will heal our broken hearts, and there'll be the resurrection, and it's a different world, different reality. It's an illuminated world. It's a beautiful world. Hallelukah. Blessed is Hashem. We illuminate Hashem. Hallelujah, as he says, comes from the word to illuminate. We illuminate. The whole world becomes illuminated. Hashem becomes illuminated. The whole world becomes, the universe becomes illuminated. Nature becomes illuminated. We become illuminated. Our whole lives, everything about us becomes illuminated. And then we'll go into the next chapter. When we are illuminated, then we can illuminate the world. You yourself have to first be illuminated before you can illuminate the world. A prisoner cannot release himself from prison. First, you yourself have to be released. Once you're released from prison, then you can... First, the Jew has to be inspired, and has to be illuminated, and it has to be transformed and changed. And then we have the power and connected. And then we have the power to connect the whole world and to change the whole world and to illuminate the whole world. All of nature and even the goyim. Anyway, every psalm is very powerful. It has its own theme, its own unique theme that runs throughout the whole psalm. David HaMelech is teaching us. David HaMelech pleaded and asked Hashem, and he succeeded. He asked Hashem that whoever says Tehillim, it should be the equivalent, like he's studying the Goyim Va'olis, which are the most difficult Mishnayos, the laws of leprosy and the Mishnayos and the laws of impurity, purity and impurity. And he succeeded. You can say in a deeper way, to truly understand Psalms, you have to break your head like you're studying. Because each Psalm has a point. And once you understand the point, that's the key. It's like the key to decode. To decode a message, you have to find the key that unlocks, like he's saying so many different things. What's the connection? He talks about clouds and he talks about ice. I mean, it's like he talks about a million different things. What's he saying? If you just read it without Chassidut, it's like it's saying a million different things. But what's the connection? One thing, another thing, a third thing, a fourth thing, a fifth thing. He's like throwing in everything plus the kitchen sink. Like you're just throwing in everything. But there has to be a neshama. There has to be a point that he's making. He's trying to bring out. So you have to study the Siddur, just like you have to study a piece of Gemara, just like you have to study in the Goyim and Olis. You have to break your head and study it to truly understand. You have to study the Siddur. You have to study the Tehillim. You have to study what we're saying here. What's the point? What are we trying to bring out? What are we? You really have to study it in depth, And then, once you get the theme, like a book could have 1,000 pages. 1,000 characters, hundreds of characters and scenes, but there has to be one theme that connects the whole thing. Every psalm, every prayer has a theme. And it's not just repetition, we're just repeating the same thing that we just said a minute ago, or we're going to say a minute from now. No, every piece in the prayer has its own theme. It's saying something, it's telling us something, it's talking about something, it's focusing on something. Unique, has its own neshama and its own story and its own message and its own point and its own point of inspiration. And unless you study it in depth, in addition, on top of the simple meaning, and unless you're able to access the deeper meaning, you study Chassidus. Chassidus makes it come alive. Now I understand the simple meaning. Now I understand. It all clicks. It all connects. It all comes together so beautifully. So hopefully with Hashem's help, we'll be able to find in every psalm, in every prayer, find the point, the neshama of that prayer, that connects everything. All the pieces suddenly come together, all the pieces of the puzzle. Now you see the bigger picture, you understand how it all fits in. What's he saying?